It turns out that one of the most efficient ways to ruin your metabolism isn't eating dessert for breakfast or skipping the gym. It's not sleeping. And we're not talking about a single all-nighter or the occasional late-night Netflix binge. We're talking about chronically getting less than the recommended 7 to 8 hours of quality sleep per night. That may sound like a mild inconvenience, but in biological terms, it's an unholy mess. Short sleep duration doesn't just make you tired. It tweaks your hormones, messes with your insulin sensitivity, screws up your appetite, and lays the groundwork for what's basically the greatest hits of modern chronic disease, metabolic syndrome. To understand why, let's begin with the hormonal horror show that kicks off when you don't sleep. In a well-rested state, your body regulates two key appetite hormones, ghrelin, which increases hunger, and leptin, which signals satiety. When sleep is restricted, ghrelin levels go up, leptin goes down, and suddenly you're famished for no good reason, especially for high-calorie, high-carb foods. This isn't just bad luck or a lack of willpower. It's a neuroendocrine prank orchestrated by your sleep-deprived hypothalamus. You could eat a burrito the size of your arm and still feel like chasing it with chips, cookies, and a pint of ice cream, all while your metabolism is politely whispering, "Please stop." On top of that, sleep deprivation makes your body more insulin resistant. That means glucose sticks around in your bloodstream longer because your cells have essentially gone on strike and stop responding to insulin's polite knock at the door. Over time, this contributes to elevated fasting glucose and eventually, if repeated often enough, to full-blown type 2 diabetes. Studies show that even just a few nights of short sleep, around 4 to 5 hours, can impair glucose tolerance by as much as 40%. That's not a rounding error. That's your body acting like it's been hit with a metabolic wrench. Blood pressure doesn't escape the chaos either. Normally, sleep acts as a natural cardiovascular reset, with your heart rate and blood pressure dipping during deep sleep stages. But with insufficient rest, the sympathetic nervous system, the one responsible for fight or flight responses, stays active. You stay in a low-grade stress state, and that leads to elevated blood pressure even while you're supposed to be unconscious. Over time, this loss of nocturnal blood pressure dipping contributes to persistent hypertension, the silent assassin of cardiovascular health. If you put this all together, you get the classic metabolic syndrome profile: central obesity, elevated triglycerides, low HDL cholesterol, high blood pressure, insulin resistance, and impaired fasting glucose. It's not a coincidence. Sleep affects every one of these markers. In fact, research has shown that people who consistently sleep less than 6 hours a night are significantly more likely to develop metabolic syndrome, even after adjusting for diet, physical activity, and other lifestyle factors. Translation: you can eat kale, run marathons, and still mess up your health by cutting corners on sleep. And let's not ignore the sneaky long-term implications. Chronically poor sleep alters circadian gene expression in organs like the liver and pancreas, areas that are supposed to regulate metabolism, not declare mutiny. That's why sleep disorders like insomnia and sleep apnea are often closely linked to metabolic problems. If your body can't synchronize its internal clocks, it's like having your kitchen and power grid operating on different time zones. Nothing works when it's supposed to, and someone always ends up setting something on fire, probably your pancreas. Perhaps the most diabolical part? You may not even feel acutely sick. Sleep loss is gradual in its sabotage. You might just feel a little sluggish, a little hungrier, a little more reliant on caffeine and afternoon snacks to survive your day. Meanwhile, your insulin receptors are losing sensitivity like a Wi-Fi signal in a bunker, and your blood vessels are becoming about as flexible as concrete. All of this is happening in the background, silently but relentlessly. So if you're wondering whether that extra hour of sleep matters, the answer is yes, deeply, metabolically, and biologically. Losing sleep isn't a harmless trade-off for productivity or entertainment. It's a stealthy metabolic grenade, and each night of short sleep pulls the pin just a little further. Eventually, your health gets caught in the blast.